Big up football fans near and far with your boy Deji Spurs. Continuing with our review of this season, the disasters, the ups and the downs. Yesterday, we dissected the butlers. Today, we asked the question, is Man City mugging us? And there's no other than my bro in Onime, who's joined us in the building, and hopefully Imran will join us. Onime, just before we get into it, how are you, my bro?
I'm good, man. Never been happier, you know? We're good.
Never been happier. Big up to everyone that's locked in, locked on. I know there's a lot of streams going on at the same time, but big up to you. Everyone watching now or later, make sure you like and subscribe. Look, the reason big up Gaming for Life, big up Sonny Smith, we're going to get into it. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about in relation to the question that was thrown, which is that is Man City mugging us? And yeah, we will touch on the whole Pochettino thing. Yesterday, I was talking about the fact that I thought that if Chelsea had kept Poch, maybe Pochettino could have won the league. Maybe I think it's a little bit premature from these mans. But look, let's get into it anyway. Man City have done the four-peat. The four-peat. It's never been done. Onime, as a Man City fan, talk us through it, and then I'll explain to you my thinking and my reasoning behind the title of tonight's show.
It's amazing. You know what I mean? It's it was a weird season, you know. It was a tired season from the boys. After doing the treble last season, they were tired. I'm not gonna lie. They were tired. They started the season very tired. You know, KDB out for 5 months, you know. But I think as we prepared for somebody else to kind of take the league this year, because we're not supposed to win it, you know, we're not supposed to do it. We're tired. We just want to finish second, pretty much. That wouldn't have been a bad season if we finished second and maybe win an FA Cup or something, you know, a trophy.
Finishing second wouldn't have been a bad season for you guys this season under Pep.
From where we came from last season, the treble, and doing what we did, knowing how tired the boys were, finishing second this season would have been acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Four-peat's never been done before. Nobody's ever done it before. It wasn't a crime not to do it. You know what I mean? It's never been done before. It wasn't a crime not to do it. But as we kind of carried on the season now, none of these guys wanted it. Do you know what I mean? None of the application, none of them applied to take it. We went away for a month or so, or whatever it was, 3 weeks, and came back and still like 5 points clear with a couple of games, or 6 points behind, sorry, with a couple of games. And we're thinking, we're not even, do you know what I mean? We were supposed to be at least 12 to 13 behind, but Arsenal lost a couple of games that period. You know what I mean? Whoever was with them that time lost a couple of games. And we're looking at it going like, do you guys not know what we normally do after the Christmas break? And we had KDB back training. So the confidence was there from the boys to say, you know, Uncle KDB is back training. And we looked at it and we thought, well, if you guys are not going to take it, well, we might as well just retain it, because we can't let the league down. Nobody wanted it. We can't let the league down. I mean, somebody's got to take the trophy, right? So nobody wanted it. Well, we might as well take it, kind of thing.
Yeah, just picking up on that fact, like nobody wanted it. And, you know, I've got loads of questions. I've got loads of theories tonight, and I'm going to get it. Big up to everyone locked in. Big up here to there. Bradley, Top Gooner in the building. Big up Gaming for Life. Sonny, Zane, big up to you. Big up Lee Gunner, Northside, Hussam. All these guys supporting the channel, showing love. Yes, we are the realists. We will call it out. And there's a lot of things that I want to call out with Onime and Imran tonight about the City. Imran, look, we saw Rodri talk about the mentality. He said basically he was surprised that Arsenal sat back. And I was telling Arsenal fans, look, Arsenal fans tried to tell me about how sitting back was a tactic that they deployed, blah, blah, blah. But Rodri came out to say, look, He is shocked. He was surprised. And then in that moment, when he saw that Arsenal came and played for the draw, he knew Arsenal were there for the pickings. Is from a fan's perspective, is that what you were seeing? Is that what you were trying to explain to me earlier in the weeks that I didn't quite see?
2,000,000%. Like you're top of the league. You're going for the title, right? You come to City. I was so disappointed with Arsenal in that game. I was so shocked, and I was like, you know what? I'm not trying to call Arsenal a small club or whatnot. But that is a small club mentality. That is a confused.com mentality. Like it is literally, they were so confused. And this is the problem with chasing City. You get so confused, you don't know which one to do. Now you've chased for 2 years. Last year you was chasing and you were so far ahead and they caught you and they beat you. This year you're chasing, thinking, oh, let's not go too far ahead. You know what they're like? Let's stay in and around. Let's even, and they still beat you. Then you came to the Etihad, a game where you're supposed to just play your game. I have never ever seen Liverpool players like that. Liverpool would never. They play their game. You understand? You play your game. You believe in your source, and you play your game. Oh, they didn't want to lose. Have you ever seen Pep go to a stadium and doesn't want to lose? We go to Real Madrid stadium and we play our game. We don't sit back. People sit back against us. Do you understand? We never sit back. We play our game. So for Arsenal to come to the Etihad and sit back like the way they did, they played their wingers were right backs and left backs. Their left backs became centre backs. Their centre backs became bodies holding hands. I've never seen anything like it. I was so shocked and so disappointed. I was like, this is dumb. Like, is this Arsenal playing like this? We were playing Arsenal like we were playing, who would I even say? Sheffield United. Even Sheffield United didn't even sit back like that against us. Do you understand? It was so poor. And at that point, I thought, you mans don't want this. You mans don't want this.
Yeah. The thing, big up to you. And, you know, Here to There makes a point here. He said, considering City's injury problems, losing Gundogan in November, December, agreed City were right to pick, but Mikel Arteta played with his food. The issue that I'm having right now and why I feel like I titled the show tonight, Mugging Us, is I feel like every fan across the country, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Arsenal should be ashamed. Liverpool should be ashamed. Tottenham, Newcastle, we should be ashamed because for me, by Man City standards, this was by far the dustiest Man City team in the last 4 seasons. No, let's be real. This City team was dusty. Do you get what I'm saying? If not for Arsenal flopping it against Villa, Arsenal win the league. It's that simple. But Arsenal bottled it, and that's why you, man, ended up winning it. But Man City didn't do anything special. Even when you came to Tottenham, you got the 2-0. You guys were still kind of rattled. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne came out to say, right, like, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, we were kind of outplayed. The issue I have now is this, though. With Man City doing the 4-peat, the first question now for everyone in the chat locked in, locked on is, when is this going to stop? And actually, are City beginning to mug us? Because right now, I'm looking at the Premier League, and one of the things that I used to pride myself on about the Premier League was the fact that we were not a one-team league. We were not like the German league where Bayern Munich wins every season. We were not like maybe when Juventus used to just dominate the Italian league, you know, season in, season out. And then, you know, in Spain, it was always between Barcelona or Real Madrid. Right now, Man City's won the bloody league 4 times. 4 times in a row. Are we dusty? So for me, is City mugging us? Because right now, like Bradley's just put in the chat, is the Premier League that dusty? The Premier League looking that rubbish where right now, you know, you were saying really on a couple of weeks ago, yeah, you know what, we're going to win. You didn't even have any reason for that because you were dusty. And I was saying like you were going to come and knock out year 1. All you could say to me was, it's City and we always finish strong. And even though you won your last 7, 8 games, or I don't know how many games you won in a row, I weren't really that moved. You weren't really sourcing. It's not like you flew out the traps. You were in gear 3, gear 4, gear 5. So I feel, and I big up to here today, and and everyone in the chat. I feel like City's just ruined the Prem. I think it's rubbish now. I think the Premier League is dusty, and City is mugging us off. I mean, how do you feel as a City fan? Because for me now, if you can win the league with no pressure, if you can win the league when your team is so dusty that you said it yourself, the dustiness of your team meant that you shouldn't even have won the league. At best, with all the kind of drainage, because I talk about the drainage, and this is why I think Arsenal will fall off now. Doing the trebles, no joke. It takes it out of you physically and mentally. And even after a treble, Man City still comes and wins the league when they're not on point, when they're not on job, when they're tired.
And KDB was off for 5 months, by the way.
This league is rubbish then. So what? City's mugging us off. Right now, I can't see a season where City don't win the league. And this is the problem. And actually, that I don't think that's good for the Premier League. I don't think that's good for football. I know Pep's come in and he's trying to change things around. But actually, I feel like City, as a football club, is ruining the game. It's getting dry. It's getting rubbish.
It's not rubbish from a City fan, but I got news for you, Deji. Next season, right, we're going to win the league clearer than this season.
That's a joke, mate.
Next season, we're going to win I'm telling you right now, next season, we're going to win the league clearer than next season than this season. Tell you why. Liverpool are not going to be there next season, right? With the new manager, all the changes that's going to happen, right? So I can forget about Liverpool. Chelsea are not going to be there next season. United are not going to be there next season, right? These men are trying to come back to say, let's try and get top 4, the revenue's down, right? That leaves Arsenal. But Arsenal have chased us 2 years in a row. Mentally, they don't even know where they want to be right now. They don't even know where they are right now. What do they do next season? Guys, they lost 5 games this season. I always say the team that wins the league loses about 3-4 games.
To win the league, yeah.
There was the odd occasion when we lost 6 games, I think it was one of the season, and we still won the league, right? Yeah. But 3-4 games. When Arsenal were losing, I mean, Arsenal did well. They lost them 5 games really early, and I thought, oh, they could be out of here. There was a key points to Arsenal when Arsenal could have been knocked out of the whole thing when they played against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I remember I said to you or Banton, I said, I really need Liverpool to beat Arsenal to get Arsenal away from the picture, because I think Liverpool are going to self-destruct anyway. This Liverpool team does not strike fear that the previous Liverpool teams have done to me, right? But I think next season we're going to win the league even clearer, because guess what? We're starting to, what people are not even understanding when they're watching their team, you're not even, like, for us, for me, for example, what I see is I see a new way we're going to play next season. Next season, we're going to play with flying wingers. We've got Savio coming in from Girona, right? Phil Foden tucking in midfield where he's going to be tucking in, right? We're going to play with flying wingers. Doku on one side, Savio on the other side. We're already developing a way to play. What Pep does is...
Does Grealish not get into this team for you? Sorry.
He won't. I won't be surprised if I see if Grealish leaves in the summer, to be honest. Because Savio coming in, you're talking about another 21-year-old, 2 flying wingers, 21. Grealish is 28, 29. You know what I mean? So yeah. I can't see him getting in. I think we're going to play a different way next season. For me, I feel like Arsenal are not going to have the same kind of push and how they are this season. I can't see them doing it for another season, because right now they are so confused. It's unreal. Coming to City, the mind games, when they came to City, the mind games that they were going through, they were playing mind games on themselves. We were just turning up to play our ball. We're going to play our game. It was for them to think, do we want to win this game? Do we want to draw this game? Do we attack? If we attack, we're going to leave we weren't thinking of all of that.
No, I hear you. But what I wanted to ask, I hear you on the man. But just picking up on here today's point, one of the things that is concerning me as a football fan is, this was Arsenal's. I spoke to Arsenal fans all week, and I've been talking about the fact that this was their season. Carpe diem. Here today says facts there, G. We have to be honest. Arsenal have had very good luck regarding injuries and fitness. This was Arsenal's best opportunity, most goals scored, best defence, hardly any injuries. We know next season there is no way that Arsenal can mimic this season in terms of injuries. I'm not wishing bad on Declan Rice. Declan Rice could get batted up. You know, a lot of these big players could go missing. Saliba could get injured again for part of the season. And then all of a sudden, Arsenal ain't the same team as before. But you guys haven't done... You guys, for me, what I find really, really worrying is forget Arsenal for a moment, because they didn't do jack. In the end, they huffed and puffed. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't blow down the house. Do you know what I mean? It was all a lot of hot air. But Arsenal failed to deliver. They didn't win anything. They finished second. No one's going to remember that. But I'm just seeing now City, and one of the things you done, and this is why I came out with it this evening, is you shook fear into me, you and Imran. You guys were just so confident that you guys were going to get it over the line. And I couldn't see why you were so confident. Yes, I've seen what you guys have done in previous years. Yes, I know that you, man, have the best team and the best players and blah, blah, blah. But I have to say, I was disappointed. And I think it's a damning indictment on the Premier League when the dustiest Man City team that I've seen in recent year wins the league. You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
but you're saying now that Man City is going to win the league next season by a canter. If this happens and you make it 5 Premier Leagues in a row, has the Premier League just been done? Is the Premier League just crap? Because for me, how do we explain this? We can't be the best league in the world anymore when one team is so dominant. And for me, what is concerning for me is you're just too damn dominant in this thing. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know, but I want you to talk from that standpoint. Do you get me? Because your brother Imran is joining in, and Imran, good time and welcome. Look at Imran wearing his shirt with the bloody gold mark on there. What is this, Imran? What is this rubbish? But Imran, I was just saying to Onomir, big up to you. Yes, Arsenal bottled it in the sense that this was their best team. This was their season to cut the seize the day. Best goals scored, best defense, and they still couldn't win. I have to say, from an outsider looking in, this is probably the dustiest Man City team we've seen in the last 4 years in terms of performances. I think you would agree, in the last 4 years, this was your worst win. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the Premier League, in terms of it was your least convincing, but you still got it over the line. And so my question to both of you is the Premier League that rubbish? Or is Man City that good? Either way, is it good for the Premier League to have one team just running things the way that it looks like at the moment?
Onami, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you go first. You go first. I've been talking anyway.
Yeah, right. Yeah, look, we know this is the narrative we get at the moment, that the Premier League is weaker because one team's dominating it. Don't forget, we haven't dominated like United dominated over a longer period. Are we saying that the Premier League was weak back then as well? Which era is stronger? I mean, at the moment, it seems like our league, the Premier League itself, is breaking all types of records. I mean, wasn't it the season where the most goals were scored in the league? So competitiveness and things like that. More teams are getting into Europe and doing decent in the obviously in Europe as well. So I wouldn't really say that it's a phase or period at the moment where the team's not doing too well. I just think it's to do with Pep. Now Pep currently he's the reason why Man City is dominating the Premier League. So we keep getting these this same thing where people say at the start of every season that it's not the same Man City. You've lost some of your big players. It's just not the same team. As words that you use. This City team's dusty. Yeah, it gets called dusty, and I was hearing that all throughout the start of the season. Now, this is the thing. Pep at the start of the season trials out systems, tries out players. He'll play certain players with certain players, and then he'll mix that around throughout the first half of the season. He'll it's basically a data gathering exercise, that first half of the season for Pep, and then it's like, right, now I know what I want to play in the finals. Now I've got a team. These are the main guys that I'm going to be playing. This is the system I'll be playing throughout the season now for the business end of the season. And you know what? This is exactly what he does. And then this is where the run starts. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going through the phases of the second half of the season. 15 games unbeaten, 14 games, 16 games unbeaten, and then everyone's like, "Oh crap! The Premier League got away from us, man." And it's City again, and City are inevitable. It's the same thing every season. I keep hearing it, and I was telling you, Daji, at the start of the season, that look, when a game week ends and we haven't won a game, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not worried. And I keep telling you this. I'm not worried because you know what? I look forward to business end. And I keep telling you. And again, the same thing happened this season. Business end happened. And remember when I said about the FA Cup game against Spurs?
Yeah.
And I said all along, look, this game is important. And you said, oh, it means nothing. I'll tell you why it's important. Because that game, going to Spurs Stadium in the FA Cup and getting that win, gave our players the belief that, you know what, when it comes to the running at the end, we can go back there and win again. That's all it did. It just gave us that belief because we got over that little bit of hoodoo. We needed to go there and actually, get a result. And that belief was important. And we went there, and obviously we did the job. So, you know what, you can keep saying, and I'm sure I'll hear this from you next season, at the start of next season. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to remind you again to.
I want to be reminded, and we got the receipts for this, and I the receipts, so I don't need to remind you. The thing I'm saying though is, you man were rattled when you came to my club. Do you know what I mean? That first half, we did have you on the ropes, and we didn't have. You had your best team, but we didn't have our best team. Yeah. So, but you done well to get it over the line, and let's also acknowledge that part of you had the good run, but part of you winning was because Arsenal bottled it against Villa. Because had Arsenal beaten Villa, they win the league. It's that simple.
Yeah, but who said Arsenal were going to win the rest of the game if they beat Villa?
Yeah, but they did though. They did.
Yeah, but it could have been different if they beat Villa. It could have been different.
I don't know, because who would have stopped them?
Anyone could have stopped them.
No, I don't think so, because they went on to win the rest of their games. They just needed to think. But for me,
we'll never know.
I feel like, I mean, Imran is trying to argue that it's not bad for football, it's not bad for the Premier League. But you, man, the fact that Imran can say to me with chest that you were never gonna not win the league, and this is what you guys do at the business end. And even though I would say that Man City didn't come out of gear one this season, on the mayor before you came in, man, was talking about the fact that the players were probably suffering from fatigue, mental and physical fatigue, from the treble of last season. And I think that did probably have a part to play, but you still got it over the line. The fact, I'm just worried now that it's dry. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, next season, Onome is saying that you man are probably going to win the league again, maybe even do the treble again. It's becoming a little bit of a joke. The Premier League's becoming a bit of a farmers' league. And the competition, the excitement, you've turned us into bloody the Bundesliga, for crying out loud. Because that's really what it is.
Here's the question though. What is Farmers League? So is it where a team dominates, or is it a team that runs away with it, like easily wins the league? Because I thought Farmers League is where a team just easily blitzes a league.
Yes.
10 points clear, they're finished. I think that's the definition of Farmers League. But all of a sudden, so don't forget, United had a longer period of dominance. We didn't hear no Farmers League back then. There was no such thing as Farmers League. But now all of a sudden there's Farmers League. But City haven't had that period of dominance. Like we've done the 4 times in a row, which obviously United didn't do. But United did have a longer period of sustainability. They won more league titles in that period. So we never heard Farmers League back then.
But the way that it's looking like though, and this is where I feel like we're being mugged. 115 charges. It doesn't look like anything's going to happen with that. Because of the money involved. But for me, right now, as long as Pep's in charge, you man can go on and win the season 10 seasons in a row. You could win the league for 10 years on the bounce now.
You know what?
Who's gonna stop? Because for me, let me tell you why. Also, sorry. Arsenal ain't doing jack next season. They're not. Let's be real. This was their opportunity. I think mental fatigue, physical fatigue will play a part on Arsenal next season. And I think we're going to see a drop-off. Because to come second twice is quite a difficult thing to take mentally. When you got the players thinking, what more do I need to do to win? And I think if Arsenal doesn't win the Premier League next season, which they won't anyway, because City will probably win it, then the Arsenal players start to doubt Arteta and they start to doubt the process. And that's how the wheels at Arsenal will start to fall off. Do you get what I'm saying? But for me right now, this is just getting dry. I'm feeling a bit mugged off. Do you know what I mean? In the way that you guys are just winning. Imran can just chill. You could probably lose your first 3 games. Imran will come on this channel, tell me, we'll still win the league. That's the sort of crap. That's the sort of crap that I'm saying. This is why it's a Farmers League, because even with any adversity, you guys don't break a sweat.
I'll go on better for you. Yeah?
I sort of get what you're saying there, because it comes down to streams next season, and I'm going to be on here, and you're going to try to cook me at the end of game week, whatever, where we've lost, and I'll be like, come on, Daddy, you know what happened last season. That's going to be my thing. I'll just be going back to receipts. I'll be saying, look, why are we crying about these one-off games? Because this is what it is. We didn't actually this season. We didn't beat Arsenal. We didn't beat Liverpool. We didn't beat.
Didn't need to.
We ended up beating you guys after we did win a game against Villa as well, but we didn't beat them too this season. And even then,
Liverpool, and you still
that's it. We didn't beat them once.
I'll go one better, Deji. Yeah, I'll go one better and tell you this about Arsenal next season. If they don't win the league next season and they don't win any trophies next season, right? They've got a bigger problem to deal with. You're now going to have players questioning, do I want to be here? Because I need to win titles. Because you go to Phil Foden's house and see how many titles he's won. At the end of the day, when the day ends, at the end of the day, you're all going to look around and count the trophies that you won. You cannot tell me that Bukayo Saka is going to spend how many years at Arsenal and finish his glorious, illustrious career and say, I only won 1 FA Cup. He's going to have to think about it at some point. Odegaard is going to have to think about it at some point. I mean, are they still going to have the same belief when next season comes and they don't win the league? So I give Arsenal one more season of holding on to these players, and they're going to fall off big time in terms of these players going, what club can I go to that I can win some damn trophies, man? It happened with the previous Arsenal teams. Adebayor and then people there going, I need to win some trophies. You understand? Xhaka has left them and gone to the Bundesliga and won trophies. You understand? So they've got bigger problems to deal with than just thinking, oh, we're chasing City or we're not going to win the league. We're talking trophies here now. I always say to you, we pretty much guaranteed 2 trophies every season. Which 2, I don't know.
Nothing. This is just pissing me off. This is what
we guaranteed 2.
This was the next question I was going to ask. I was going to ask you both quickly now. How many trophies do you win this season? And actually, as it stands, is this a successful season for Man City? I can't even believe I'm asking that question. But I think I have to, because this league is so dusty that I feel like the goalposts have been moved for City. Winning 1 trophy, is that enough? Is that a success? Let's say you lose to United on the weekend. Does this still count as a successful season, or do you need to have a double as minimum? Because this is sort of crusty conversations that we're having. We're looking at Man City and we're saying 1 trophy might not even be enough.
I think it's still a successful season, even if we don't beat United. Coming from where we came from last season, and I honestly I saw how tired these guys must have been. See that Champions League final. If it went to extra time, I don't even know what legs they were going to run with. They were that tired, and I saw something a preseason. I think it was this preseason when we went to Japan. I think it was, and we traveled there on a Thursday or something and played on a Friday on a Saturday. And we were in cruise control. I don't even think we used any gears. We didn't even get into gear one. And we just won. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this team has actually reached a different level now where they can just turn up now and everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that is dangerous. That is dangerous territories now where you just turn up and everybody knows what they're doing. And it's crazy. But yes, to answer your question, absolutely. Because it's the Premier League that we won, yes, it is a successful season.
Yeah. Okay. Imran, what are you saying about that? I've got a few things to say about what you talked about in terms of your strategy. But Imran, what are you saying? If you just win the Prem this season, is it successful?
Do you know what? Speaking to like friends prior to that game, and I said, if we can win one, I'd be happy just to win the Premier League, man. Because and the reason is, you know what? Don't forget, I know we've been winning the league regularly, but we don't want to be in a situation where we just think or devalue that Premier League. The Premier League is the pinnacle. It's the thing that we play 38 games in a season. It's the one, you know, I've got a season ticket. I go to every single home game, and then I go to away games as well for in the Premier League. These are the games I mainly watch. I want to see us win this trophy. No, imagine going to this and then winning another trophy and not winning the Premier League. The ones that I go to watch the most. And also, don't forget, we've got certain, we're trying to catch up as well in terms of Premier Leagues. We're trying to catch up with, Arsenal, trying to catch up with United, trying to catch up with.
Well, not Arsenal, not the Premier League, but
no, but in league titles I'm talking about. So we're trying to catch up. So obviously, we're moving clear of Chelsea. And then Mans, but definitely we need to just carry on with this trajectory. We need to keep winning that trophy every single season now, as long as Pep's around, and then we'll see what happens after that. But definitely we need to catch up, man. And,
so I've got go on, sorry, man.
No, that's it. In terms of FA Cup, it's a one-off game. Look, it's against bitter rivals United, so obviously we want to try to win that. But if we don't win that, I wouldn't call that an unsuccessful season. I think Premier, after winning the treble, to have a drop off completely and not win anything would be a complete failure. But to win the Premier
finish
League,
third, for example.
So Olamir was saying he wouldn't have if you had finished second, and I know this is all hypotheticals, that it didn't happen, but had you finished second with no trophy because you had won the treble, he would have still deemed it a successful season. Would that have been successful for you, man?
Second, finish second and not win anything.
Yeah.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think, look, this is my own personal opinion. Look, we play to win trophies, man, every season. It doesn't mean look, we're entitled and we shouldn't. But I know what the narrative would have been if we hadn't won it. That we bottled it, and people wouldn't really care if if we didn't win anything, and they wouldn't say, "Oh, you won the treble last year, so it doesn't mean anything this year." You can have a bit of a break. No, I know that the pressure was on us to win something in this year, and obviously we've done it. We're not going to look back now, isn't it? Really, we've done it.
Yeah, no, and awesome, and for me. We'll talk about what you guys are going to do this weekend against that Dusty United team. I mean, it looks like Man City are probably going to do the double. And I'm loving the way that you've played. What would you say is the kind of standout performance? Obviously, Phil Foden got player of the season. I think it's fully deserved. He's probably stood out. Can Man City get any stronger? I think is the question for me, because right now, forget the rest of the league. I agree with Onome. I think you guys win the league next season by a canter. Arsenal's going to drop off. Arne Slot is an unknown. I don't think Liverpool do anything. I do think Tottenham creep into the top four, though. And it will be interesting. I had Chelsea to maybe creep in had they kept Poch. But with them sacking Poch, which we'll talk about later on shortly as well. I don't really see that happening moving forward. So Chelsea look like they're going to be in the wilderness. What more can you be improved? Onime talks about Savio coming in. I mean, all this crap. I mean, I don't know half the players you're bloody bringing in. Is there a role for Alvarez?
Savio, I don't know if you watched Savio this season, man. That guy was quality, really, really good. I mean, just ask the likes of Lee Guna, who watches the Spanish league. He actually said that Savio would immediately become the best winger in the league.
Yeah.
You know, just by signing him. Honestly, I think one thing, right? Check this out. We've seen City all season play a certain way. We've been playing this slow build up. We don't really, even when we hit on the counter, we'll slow it down. All the opposition's back. You know what? Don't be surprised if Pep just changes up again next season, and you've got Doku on one wing and you've got Savio on the other.
And that what I told you earlier.
Taking the pressure, picking up the ball out to the wings, counter attack, straight to Haaland, goal. You know what? So that's one of the things that could happen next season. Also, like, I don't know if you noticed over the season, but obviously, look, the main creator for Haaland is De Bruyne, right? And then, you know, there's a big drop off who the next player is, who then assists. I think these are the players that we're looking for next season. Players that can, and don't forget, it's not just about assists when you're playing for City. It's about finding assists in it's like the eye of the needle. Trying to find the tiniest of gaps to feed the ball through. And obviously, these are the type of players we're looking for. And you know, this is where, you know, there's possibility. You know, there's players that are linked, such as Paqueta, even Musiala, players like that who can possibly do that. I mean, just imagine getting one of them players, man. It's gonna
be mad.
Really strengthen our team. This season we sort of messed up because Paqueta's obviously his gambling thing that happened, which meant that we didn't end up signing him this season. But you know, rumors are that we've still got a deal in place with him. And it's just clearing his name now, and hopefully we can.
Where does he fit? If you bring in Paqueta, where would he even bloody fit in that midfield, though? That's
the thing. Now, look, you'd be talking about like players that could potentially leave as well. So,
I think Bernardo and Jack will be going.
Yeah, I think definitely Bernardo. I'm not sure about the whole Jack thing, but Bernardo will definitely be leaving. He's made it very clear over the years. I think this will be the season. I think last season we didn't let him go because we lost two key players in Mahrez and Gundogan. So obviously, filling in possibly in that position. You know what? I've not seen the best of Matheus Nunes. I've been a massive critic of him this season. I've not seen what he can produce in this team. However, I think his situation is quite like Jack's, where you know these players thrive in counter-attacking teams and not in teams where you've got low blocks. So possibility, right? Next season, if Pep changes things around and it turns into this quick pace wingers game, possibly Matheus Nunes can play in that system. I think that'll be something that'll suit his game. So yeah, man, let's see, man. There's a lot of rumors, but let's see what happens.
I mean, every time Imran and Onime, every time you speak, it just confirms how dusty that you guys have made the Premier League dusty, because you man are just speaking.
We say the same things.
Nah, it's just, to be honest. Look, it's great for you guys. It's great for you, man. I mean, Imran's here chatting. It's like, you know what? We need to win the Prem because we need to catch up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
One thing I will say about City though is this.
Crikey.
And I don't think every team has that. Every season, there is a player that is the star man. But the ability for the entire team to recognize who that is and say, you know what, it's you this season. We're going to do everything in our power to just give you the ball so you can do what you need to do. We've had Gundogan be the star man. We've had Mahrez been the star man. Now, last season, obviously, De Bruyne has obviously been the star man for several seasons. But last season, we had Phil Foden. But the trust that they all put in him, the young Phil Foden that we all saw at 16 coming out, the trust that they all put in him this season to say, you're the guy, you're our guy this season, is respect to the whole team, because they're so humble, they're so normal. There's no pride in any of them to say, no, that's small, but like that's small boy Phil Foden. What can he do? No. They're like, this is your moment. This is you. Like, take us to the promised land. And even De Bruyne came out and said, like, Phil won us the league. He refused to. He refused to. When everybody else was like, oh, maybe we'll just chill. This is like, I'm not chilling. I saw Phil Foden score against, I can't remember who it was. He equalized and he was vexed. He was like, what the hell are we doing? Like, no, I'm not celebrating this goal. Get the ball, man. Let's play ball, man. What are we doing here?
Foden,
and that's the mentality he has.
Foden stepped up, and it's something that Pep does. I've got 2 questions before we move on to talk about some of the other things. My first question is, what more does Pep need to do to become the best Premier League manager? What more do you need to see from him? I think that's a very good question. And then my next questions for Artillero, I will save that. But please, can we answer that? Because for me right now, and how long is he staying? Has he given any murmurings? Some people have been saying that next season might be his last season. From insiders, from what you're hearing, what's going on? Is next season Pep's last season?
Yeah, well, there's 2 things. Firstly, let's answer the second bit that you just said there. How long Pep's going to be around? Pep's basically said that he's going to be here. He's going to be here less than he has been around already, right? So he said he's closer to the end of his City time than he is towards the start of that. So I think he's got 1 more season left. Yeah. He may extend for another period, maybe 1 or 2 years, but that's it. I don't see him being there any longer. So that's the first bit. Right. The other part, what does he need to do to become the Premier League, the great Premier League manager? Right. Okay. Look, the criteria is different for different people. For some people, it's who's got the most trophies. Right, and if that's the conversation, if that's your criteria, then it's Fergie. That means Pep needs to stick around until he's won as many league titles as Fergie, right? Which
is not done.
Right, but then there's other criteria in terms of his overall contribution to the football, his coaching abilities, his innovation, and all that stuff. I think in terms of that, I think he's already clear. I think he's already clear. He's already the greatest manager the Premier League has had.
He's literally transformed. Yeah. Anyway, you in agreement with that?
I think he answered the question the exact same way as I would answer it. When Pep said in that interview, and people are running away with it and stuff, they're running wild and running crazy with it, like, oh, this is last year. He's basically saying, I've been here 8 years already, right? I'm not going to do 8 more years. So I am closer to leaving than I am, than I am going to stay. Which basically tells you guys nothing really.
Don't bloody tell us if you've got 1 or 2 years. Don't tell me you're closer to leaving.
So he basically fucks everybody up, because he's basically saying, I could extend for another 3 years. I could stay another 4. I could stay another 5. That still falls in the category of I'm closer to leaving than I am the years that I've done. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not saying he's leaving. I think Pep is very comfortable with working with this club, with working with this team. I think there was a point where Juventus and the Italian league was like, oh my God, the Italian league. And there was a lure to the Italian league to say he's going to go do it in another league. He's done it. And then the Italian league fell off with all the scandal. So that rules out Italy, rules out Spain, rules out Germany. He's already been there, right? He's not really going to go to France. So where's his next move?
Just to interject there, he's already made it clear that his next role will be he's going to, once he leaves City, he's going to take a break, and after that, he's going to look international. At international. He's talking about international. So
he's going to take over Spain or not. He's going to take over the Spanish or the England job.
He won't take the Spanish job, and I think the reason why he won't take he's the Catalan, and he was dead against Spanish stuff, weren't he? So
Yeah.
I don't think he'd ever take the Spain job either.
Maybe
It would
take
be
it.
interesting. It'd be interesting. I'd love him to take over this England team.
Yeah.
That'd be
I think he
amazing.
could do. I think he could do something with this England team. Yeah. Oliver, what are you saying? Sorry.
I just think like, you know, when it comes to that, so you're talking about international, right? Is Pep wanting to go into international now at this age? International, as we know, is like a retirement kind of job, kind of thing for the older man. Them the day to day. I think Pep loves the day to day still, right? I can't see him. I can see him extending. You know, I can see him extending for another 2 years, and like I said, another 2 years, then that will be it. That will be the stretch. I can't see him leaving at 9. He's going to do 10. Obviously, he's going to do 10 years, right? But I can see him extending for another 2 years, and that will be it, right? But for me, in answer to your other question, he's already done all of that. He's already the greatest. Like he just said, if it comes to the amount of trophies, longevity obviously had Ferguson there for how many years, right? He's not going to do that many years. So obviously he's not going to get to that many Prem titles, right? So now it comes down to what are you classing it as? It's the same debate we have when we say, is he world class? Is this person world class? What do you class world class as? Because I've heard people say, oh, KD, so this is the argument, right? Which is what pisses me off about how people sort of see things, right? When they go, oh, KDB is not world class because he doesn't do it internationally, right? Some people would say, right? But then others would say, oh, Bukayo is not world class because of what then? Because he has done it internationally. He has scored goals in the World Cup. So it just people just pick and
Kane's
choose.
world class. He's not won a trophy. Kane is world class. He's not won a trophy, in my opinion. And he's a good.
People just pick and choose.
Yeah.
Listen, the Kane situation, I think his village people are really after him. Because how do you go to Bayern and not win any trophy? That's another debate. But
yeah, I mean, that's that. No, I know.
Just
That's one question though, Imran.
Just to the Pep thing. I just probably a couple of months ago, I spoke to the CEO of Man City, Ferran Soriano, and also the sporting director, Tiki Bergestein. And you know what? I said to them, look, I have full faith in what you guys do in terms of, you know, running this club, right? You know, the players you buy. I'm never like worried when it comes to the transfer window. Like you're signing someone, that's it. If they're not signing someone, that's fine, because they're probably not signing someone because the right player is not there. So that doesn't bother me. I said the thing that worries me the most is what you're doing in terms of Pep's replacement. And Ferran Soriano, who's the CEO, he said, don't worry about that. Still a long time left. He said, for us to do that.
I need this brother to get out the way. What's his name? Artilero's hair, shaking his bum violently, sitting in his underwear with a fan in his face, bashing away at the keyboard, reckons that Pep ain't going to be there long. He says, don't let Pep leave. Arsenal will start dominating. I've got a question, though. This is a legit question. No joke. Pep said something. And for me, Pep is the barometer. He's the best manager in world football. And I would almost argue he might even be already have surpassed Fergie if you think at the length of time, like the amount of trophies you guys have won in a short period of time. I would already say he's probably the best manager that the Premier League's ever seen. And I'm not here shaking my bum violently for Man City. I'm just calling it for what it is. They have mugged our league. They've turned the Premier League into a farmers' league. It is what it is. Imran can pretend that Man City found it difficult this season. But the truth is, on the men, Imran always knew that Man City was going to win. He said Spurs should have faith in Postecoglou. Because in that first half, legitimately, and I know, Imran, you went to that game, Tottenham outplayed you. And for me, I'm just looking now ahead. Based on what you've seen this season, based on what you see the managers, in my opinion, well, in your opinion, who do you think are your rivals moving forward? Who do you think could knock City off their perch if they're going to knock City off their perch? I'm going to put it out there and say the team that is going to be giving City a run for their money in the next 3 seasons, I think is my club. I think it's Tottenham Hotspur. Because if you look at the way Tottenham played, especially in that first half, Man City couldn't hack it. The difference, though, on the as you mentioned, was, and a good friend of mine, Arthur, he talked about the difference between Tottenham and City. The difference being that City is instinctive. You man know what you're doing. Your players know what they're doing because they're bought into the system. It's part of their DNA. It's part of their fabric. And Tottenham, we're still second guessing. You know what I mean? We still don't know how to play the Postecoglou way without thinking. It's like driving a vehicle without thinking about it. But once that gets embedded and we can start to play instinctively like how City play, you know, one of the things that my friend pointed out was the fact that City hardly spend, you talked about tired, but the reason why you're able to get over the line, even with your players being tired, is because you don't spend that much energy. Because you know where to be at the right time. And that's why you guys are quite an efficient team. I see Spurs, my club, being the team that is going to take City, be the ones that step up to give you guys a hard time. But, you know, a lot of people will be saying, Dej, how can you say that? It's an early season. But I think Postecoglou is legit. And I think Pep sees it himself. But are you in agreement that my club is likely to be the team that give you a run for your money? And I also think Arsenal now are done, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a big drop-off. I said to Lee Gunner and Northside that I see Tottenham winning the Prem before Arsenal. Because I don't see Arsenal coming back from this point onwards. But I throw it to you. Who do you think are going to be your nearest and dearest? Who's going to be pushing City? I'm not saying they're going to beat you guys to the Prem, but who are going to be your rivals moving forward? Remember, Arne Slot's coming in. He's an unknown. There's no more Klopp. Arteta, I think he's had his chance. It's gone. Chelsea is an unknown. Bloody hell, Newcastle are waiting, itching to get rid of Eddie Howe. Maybe the only constant is maybe Unai. Can Unai push forward? Maybe next season with Villa, with a bit of money in Champions League football. Spurs. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, you answer this one, and I'll get my next.
Based on your argument, when you say slots, Arsenal being done, so I can see why you would think Spurs is the more steady of them all in terms of how they play and stuff like that. I can see the arguments towards it, but the problem I have with Spurs is it's the small games that they go and end up just losing. We won the league this year, beating all the small teams and beating them like they are kids. Do you understand? The top 6 teams, we didn't really, do anything against. But Spurs will go and lose to a Fulham or a Brighton I'm not calling those clubs small clubs, but I'm saying with the level where Spurs is, they're supposed to be beating these teams to convince us that they are ready. But they're not doing that with these teams. Do you understand?
I've got an answer to that, but
they're not doing that with these teams. They tend to raise their games against the top 6 teams and forget that they're supposed to win their bread and butter, which is these little teams they're supposed to just beat and stuff. They don't need to be losing against a Burnley or giving Burnley a chance or anything like that. You beat these teams convincingly and let these teams know, don't ever come to the stadium again. Don't ever talk to us again. Right? We are not in the same league. But Spurs seem to be arguing with these people and thinking, yeah, we're kind of in the same league. We're the best of the rest kind of thing. No. The top teams don't do that. So I can't see where Spurs are going to be the biggest challengers against us next season.
Right.
I can't see it.
Okay, fair. I can tell you I will, but let me hear you, Imran. What are you saying?
Yeah, I think just going through the list of teams. So Liverpool, obviously new manager, but their team is dropping off now, man. Some of these players need recycling. They still need some better midfield in there. They need defensive backup. They need a lot of work. So and then with the new manager, I don't see them being a challenge next season.
Yeah.
Chelsea and United have got a big gap to bridge. They really have. So I wouldn't say they are. In terms of Spurs, I just think, look, I've seen a lot of positives this season.
Yeah.
Right. But then there's things that have baffled me as well, like the way he decided to play against us. Right? Why couldn't he have played like that against some of the other teams? So, some of the like against Liverpool, against. See, what really frustrates me is when I see teams go up against the likes of Liverpool, whatever, and they know that Liverpool fancy a high line. They love the balls over the top. They love those blue balls and running onto these balls. Where they struggle is where teams sit back, 2 banks of 4, whatever, and just completely like block out any chances that these of movement for the attacking three. Now, what Postecoglou did against City. Now, if he takes that on board and decides to do that in some of the bigger games, that's gonna benefit him quite a bit. But I think he needs to learn from this season. But also, I think we need to look at what reinforcements he's going to get next season as well. Until we don't see that, I can't really say at the moment that you're a team that's going to be challenging for the top spot. And I know you've said this. You say this every season, Deji. You'll say you're the Champions League contenders to win the Champions League. You're going to be challenging for the Premier League and all that stuff. So look, I think it's all dependent on your signings. But I think definitely stick with Postecoglou, and he needs to learn some lessons from this season that's gone.
Okay.
Villa's going to struggle, man. I think because they're playing Champions League as well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be important, the type of players they get. Are they going to get players in that is going to be straight away, in the starting 11? Are they trying to improve their squad now and getting better better backup on the bench to come on than what they currently have? So they obviously need to work there. But yeah, seriously, I think it's going to be Arsenal, honestly. And the reason why, currently they're still producing. They were producing right till the end, and I think they'll continue. They've got the core of players. They're all still there. In the earlier parts of their career. Still, it's not like anyone's past it yet. I think Declan Rice was a huge signing for them, and this season I think he has definitely strengthened them. Partey came back, added some more strength in that team when he returned as well. Honestly, I think they just probably need. I think they just need a finisher up front, and I think they'll cause some serious problems. I can only look at them being our main challenger for the next couple of seasons, the way they are, with where they're at the moment. However, obviously, it all depends on the transfer window. But based on right now, I say it's Arsenal.
Yeah, the only thing I would say, and I hear you, and I big up to you, and I appreciate that. The only thing I would say is that this season, remember, was very much a test and learn season. And so, Imran, you talked about the fact, why didn't he do this before the City game? Had he had done this earlier on? And the truth is, he didn't know. Sometimes in football, as a manager, I've been a manager of Sunday League, you go with what your idea is until you're forced to do something different. And then you do something different. You're like, oh, that is an option. So we now know that where he thought Van de Ven had to stay as centre-back with Romero, which is why he played Ben Davies, which is why he played Emerson Royale there, because he felt that these two pairings had to be. We then saw when he experimented in the Burnley game that, actually, maybe Van de Ven can do a job at left-back. And then we saw that Van de Ven did, for me, he did a fantastic job in the City game. I don't think any of the goals that you scored was due to Van de Ven being out of position. It just was what it was. And then he had another decent game at left back. So now moving forward for next season, if your doggy gets injured, guess what? We put Van de Ven left back, we bring Jacuzzi in. That comes with time with your squad. That comes with experience. The other thing that Postecoglou has said is that we are going to be in the title race. Meaning, and he said this 3 or 4 weeks ago, we have already identified the players that we need to bring in. We are getting rid of about 8 players. I think you saw in the chat, Goals talking about the fact that we could be even getting rid of Kulusevski, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? So we are not messing around. And I rightly said, if we bring the right players, for me, I would like to take the Crystal Palace front three, Eze, Olise, and Mateta. Throw down a little 160, 170 mil for the 3 of them. And then I think Tottenham will begin to source. But I do think that the issue, look, Logically, Arsenal need a striker, but the only striker I can think of in world football that would get Arsenal over the line would be Alvarez, who's not leaving your club, Kane, Haaland, or Isak. Is Isak really going to leave Newcastle for Arsenal with all the money that Newcastle have? I can't see it happening. I don't see it happening. They can offer this guy more money than sense. So Newcastle ain't losing players. A bit like you guys. They can offer big boy salaries. So if you're not bringing in those strikers, who else can Arsenal bring in? What, Ivan Toney? Ivan Toney's not going there. And I don't think Arsenal want him. I think they've already come out to say they don't want him. So who are they going to bring? So for me, I think Arsenal, and I talked about them needing a striker from early on, they're not going to bring in the striker they need. That's why they brought Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, they are going to be playing with a false 9 next season. Trust me on that.
Is that not Arsenal's? Is that not Arsenal's problem though? The problem of Arsenal is, and a lot of is, the scouting network is not good enough. We've dug in Alvarez from somewhere, right? That Arsenal probably wouldn't have signed him if they offered it to him. Do you know what I mean? They're going for these players that are known, the known players. You know what I mean? The players that when you type in good striker on Google, it comes up. You know what I mean? They're going for those kind of players. Where the scouting network needs to start going deep into looking for stuff. Like we've signed this kid, Echeverry, right? Who I think is going to be amazing. Is banging, right? Real Madrid, we kind of starting to use the Real Madrid system where Real Madrid is going to sign all these Brazilian kids from 17. Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo signed at 17. No one even heard when they signed that time. And lo and behold, look at them now, right? But the problem with Arsenal is they keep going for these known names, and they're not doing any homework. Do you know what I mean? They're not doing any homework to see who they need to get. So you're just naming strikers now they're not going to be able to get. But they need to go and find somebody.
That's what they're going to need to get it over the line for me. You know, you people say striker, but you can't bring any striker. Even Ollie Watkins. Would Ollie Watkins leave Villa to go now?
Yeah. Not now that they qualify for Champions League, but Ollie Watkins would have been a good striker for Arsenal to have. But I mentioned Ollie Watkins before in one of the other shows that I was, and they go, no, he's not good enough for us. I'm like, bro, you guys want the toppest of the names. Ollie Watkins would have been a fantastic striker for Arsenal.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, I think, like you guys have said, it's going to be an interesting summer. We're going to be talking about some of the transfers that are coming in. I still think Man City have mugged off the. I think Here to There already put it in the chat. He said there's a 75% chance that Arsenal will challenge again, but City will have a solid. He said, but City will still have a solid 75% chance of the 5p. Imagine that, City winning the Premier League 5 leagues in a row. If City, can we agree though? If City was to do the 5p, that the Premier League is fully dusty. Can we just agree that? Because it's become a one team league where one team wins and then everyone else is fighting for top 4. That's really what it's become. Can we just agree on that tonight?
I don't think so. I feel like it's a case of City just having players that have been there for how many years now, and all been playing together for how many years, and what you have with a team like City, what you have with a team like Real Madrid is everybody in the world knows them. Everybody in the world knows what it takes to play for that team. Everybody knows. So any player that wants to come, like you heard Haaland say it. Haaland was like, when I watched City's team play, I was picturing myself in that team scoring those goals. I was picturing myself in that team with those chances. So you have situations like that where everybody knows how City play. So any player that's been linked with them, they know that, first of all, I got to work my bollocks off in that team. I've got to, obviously, I am good enough. That's why they want to sign me in the first place. But hard, do you know what I mean? So people kind of know what to expect before they even come. So the main players there, which is like the how many players have been there, 7 years and 6 years and 5 years, when these other players come, it's not hard for them to copy what they see there, knowing that I've got to work hard. I've got to literally come in here and I can't slack. So that's just what it is. But all these other teams are not really, they don't really have that. They're not really competing at the top level like that. You know, they have a lot of rubbish players that have bad habits. Like you go to Arsenal's squad, and you still got the likes of El Neni in that squad. You still got the like of Cedric the Entertainer in that squad. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. You go to United squad. How have United got a player that went on loan to a League One club?
That's
a League
crazy.
One club.
That's
He went
crazy.
on loan to a League One club and is coming back to United, starting games.
Who is that? Who
That's
is
not
that?
good enough.
Who's
Ahmad, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
That's not good enough.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
sorry. He scored a goal. Yes, I agree, but that's not good enough.
Yeah,
You cannot go on loan. You cannot go on loan to a League One club. You had what's his name? Their number 9. He went on loan for like a season or 2 seasons, and still came back and still pulled on that number 9 shit and still started games. It's not good enough.
no, I agree.
So this is what you have with these teams, that they don't have. You know what I mean? The players are not. They're not there. The structure, the support players, they're not there. It's all well and good having 25-man squad. Oh yeah, we've got 25-man squad. But what are these 25-man squad? Rios Nelson went on loan for a couple of years in Germany. Nobody heard about him, and he came back and he's still in the Arsenal first team.
That's why I agree, and that's why I can't shake my bum for them Arsenal fans. Roland is not too happy with what we're talking about. He says, "I thought Deji was the only clown in this panel. I was wrong. He's not the only one. This is a circus of clowns." Roland, we will clip this. We are telling you about your dusty club. Do you get what I'm saying? You had your chance to win the league and you bottled it. So
Roland, if you feel like Cedric El Neni, Roland, if you feel like Cedric El Neni and Rios Nelson and those kind of players should still be in your squad, then boy, good luck, man. Good luck. Fair play. Power to the people, man.
Last question before we leave. There's the whole madness. I know you guys heard it about Chelsea today. I was saying literally yesterday with Lee Gunner and Northside that if Chelsea could have faith, because let's be real, Chelsea have gone on a positive trajectory. They finished 6th after a dusty season. They finished 6th, and it just looked like, legitly, that things started to click, or he found a way of winning with that squad. So I couldn't foresee this, and I even went as far as to say I wouldn't have been surprised if Pochettino won the league with that team. Remember, the difference is with Spurs, he didn't get the resources, he didn't get the support. Chelsea, he would have had access to the resources and support. Question before we go is, one, are you surprised? And are you in agreement with me with the progress that Chelsea was showing, the progress they were showing, because now they look like they're in disarray? Could they have done something? Could they have been, would you have said something different, Imran? Maybe would you have said earlier that maybe they would be one of the teams that would have been your rivals and maybe be taking you, pushing you guys for next season? So I'm throwing it to you and Onime before we wrap up.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. The trajectory was good at the end of the season, wasn't it? They definitely beside making their way up this league. They obviously made it seems like they've made this decision a lot earlier before they started going on this run. They made the decision that, you know what, this ain't working for us. We need to bring someone else in. And no matter what happened in the latter part of the season, let's say he somehow qualified for top 4, I think the decision was already made that he wasn't going to be the guy going forward. Now I don't know if that links in with De Zerbi, saying bye to Brighton. He's not. Who's he been linked with? I've not seen any reports of him being linked to any. I mean, any. We had Romano, talk about him leaving, but Romano didn't even mention which club he could potentially be linked to. So yeah, man, the decision was made. I think he started to get the best out of some of these players.
Yeah.
Look, we all knew from the start that some of these guys were young. They needed some work. They weren't going to start producing straight away. So that was the first thing. We all knew this was going to happen. Secondly, he had some of his main players out as well. Some of the big players that he'd signed, or the big valued players he'd signed, were out for a considerable period as well. you know, it seemed to be like clicking back into place towards the end of the season, and all of a sudden, you know, these guys have pulled the plug. I think, to be honest, I think, you know, on Chelsea's part, you know, they're not thinking, you know, they've done long-term transfers. You know, they've got players in for the rest of their careers. However, it doesn't seem like they've done anything in terms of really like had a vision for what they expect from the manager. I think they expected straight results. They expected Europe straight away. They expected Champions League straight away. Because look, don't forget, they've heavily invested in this guy and in this team to start delivering straight away. I think they were expecting delivery straight away, and they expected Champions League money next season.
Yeah, I agree. You can't spend because they've seen it done. Do you get what I'm saying? Even under bloody Avram Grant, mate, they were getting Champions League football. Do you know what I mean? Avram Grant, Conte, you know, even was it Di Matteo managed to win the bloody Champions League. So they know they've not had it perfect, but they still have had managers who've been able to get it over the line. I think the only difference that Poch is he came into a big mess. 45 players, good players, and none of those players made sense, if you know what I mean. It's just a bit like we've got players, but was there any thought behind it? Why have we got Lavia and Caicedo and Enzo? Like, what is the purpose of Enzo? What is the reason why you brought him in? Jackson, you know, it's a hot mess. So he had to wade through all of that. He's finally started to wade through. They're starting to win now. Confidence is coming in. They're starting to get results. And then you've done what Spurs did with Mourinho. You've kind of shot him when he could have actually done something with the club. I think he deserved at least another season to see where he would have gone. If he doesn't perform or he kind of does the Chelsea finish 6th and they don't hit Champions League football, then, you know, by all means, sack him. But it looks like Chelsea are going to be in the mud. Even if De Zerbi comes in, what's he going to do? That squad is still a mess. He's still going to need to bring in the right balance of grafters and flair players. That's what Unai got right at Aston Villa. Your grafter
as well. They've already failed with one ex-Brighton manager. No, and now if they bring in De Zerbi, I'm baffled, man, that they even would think about De Zerbi if he does come. It's like, hold on. So you brought in a manager that played in that system, who worked in that Brighton system, and you brought him into Chelsea, tried to make him play a certain way. It's not worked. And now, you know, a year later, they've gone. They possibly would be going back to Brighton again and get a manager who worked with their system and try to make it work again. I think it'd be the biggest mistake ever.
It's not the same. It's not the same system. It's not the same system. De Zerbi brought that system to Brighton, though. My man wasn't playing that system.
No, but I'm not just talking about their style of play, but I'm talking about the Brighton system. You know, like how they operate and how the manager works under that structure. So yeah, you can come in and play your own system, but if you don't work under that structure, then you don't work under that structure. The way Chelsea have been structured, you know, it's not going to suit. It might not suit De Zerbi. So I mean that's why I'm getting at. I'm not just talking about like him getting, you know, his tactics right. Him coming there, will he have, what sort of influence will he have on what type of players stay? What type of influence will he have on what players come in? What's going to happen going forward? And it is a big mess. Don't forget, Brighton has had a set director of football. You know, they've brought in the type of players they wanted to play that system. Now, as Deji just said earlier, that Chelsea, the players that they bought in don't make sense. Now, De Zerbi hasn't had to work with players that don't make sense. He worked with a system that had already been designed for him. That, you know, these are the players that we bought in to play this style, the certain style of play. And obviously he's got the best. You know, he's sort of got the best out of it at the beginning of the season. But then obviously it fell off. He has fallen off for the second part of the season. So I don't see why Chelsea would be looking at De Zerbi, knowing what he's done in the second part of the season.
Yeah,
I rate De Zerbi highly. I think he's a manager that has his own style. He's a manager that commands respect from the players. Players will respect him. I think he comes into Chelsea, and if he does, I think he does. He would do wonders with that. With the way they finished towards the end, I think he will come into Chelsea and he will do well. I think he will do well. I think he will impose his style. He'll have a transfer window to bring in 2 or 3 players, strengthen at the back, change the midfield up a little bit, get a striker in, because Chelsea is a team that will play with a striker and will do well with a striker, right? If you put you put a striker in a Chelsea team or you put a striker in an Arsenal team, I think Chelsea is a team that is designed to play with a striker more than an Arsenal would, because Arsenal rely on the wingers so much, and is their wingers that's doing the business for them, kind of thing, right? Yeah. But I think De Zerbi is a very good manager that will come into Chelsea and do well. I do agree that Pochettino's decision has been made a long time ago when the results were bad, to say this is not the manager we're going to go forward with. Let's just let him get to the end of the season and we'll sack him. What they're not looking at is they just tunnel vision and say, let's just get to the end of the season. They didn't look at the changes that was made towards the end of the season. So they made the decision back in December, for example, to say, let's just get to the end of the season, but they've not considered, hang on, we actually finished 6th here. We was 10th for such a long time. Since the start of the season. So we finished above the likes of Newcastle, Man United, and those guys. We finished 3 points from Spurs and a better goal difference. The same Spurs that were, saying that people were saying, oh yeah, they're going to challenge for the league and this and the other. We finished 3 points behind them. So they didn't really think of all of that. They just thought, right, we said at the end of the season, let's go, let's implement what we said at the end of the season. That's what they've done there. But I think De Zerbi comes in and De Zerbi does well. I really like De Zerbi. I rate him a lot. I think he's a very good manager. He's a very stubborn manager that knows what he's worth, knows his system, and will play his system. Right? He let Caicedo go, yeah, whatever, go, no problem. And brought back what's his name? The little kid that came from Chelsea before. Can't remember his name in midfield.
Billy Gilmore.
And actually I apologized to Billy Gilmore and said, you know what? I'm sorry I wasn't playing you earlier. Right? And Billy Gilmore was actually cooking. Lamptey was cooking. So I think De Zerbi has his system that it brings in certain players to play his system, and they will perform as long as they're good enough players. But I think he will have the backing. He'll have money to spend. I think it's a no-brainer that De Zerbi does well and takes Chelsea to another level if they do get him.
Well, I don't think he'll have money to spend at Chelsea. I don't think he will. Chelsea got a lot of stuff to deal with next season as well. Yeah. I just don't think they've got any money to spend.
Well, he could be.
They find their way, don't they?
Not conspiracy theory. He could be going to Chelsea. He could be going to Man United after Man City slap up United this weekend. Do you know what I mean?
But United job is open as well.
Because it's definitely going to be.
I think De Zerbi ends up in either Bayern, United, or Chelsea.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Well, let's see. I think. But there is talk that Tuchel might stay. That Bayern Munich may do a U-turn and allow Tuchel.
No. He said that's not happening. He's already said.
All right. Fair. All right. Before we round off, FA Cup weekend. Man City could do the double. You did the treble last season. You've done it. Maybe do the double this weekend. That's 5 trophies in 2 seasons. That's pretty bloody impressive stuff, if you ask me.
Seven trophies. Don't forget the Super Cup and the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it's just starting to get a bit ridiculous in my honest opinion. This is why I think the Premier League's become the Champions League, and I can't wait. Do you know what? You're the only reason. If we were to do a Super League, I wouldn't mind seeing City gone. Keep everybody else, but let City go and do that.
You must establish to go to Super League.
Super League, we don't believe in that. I mean, people think that we're believing. Super League just replaces the Champions League. It doesn't mean we believe in the Premier League.
Okay.
Our league will still.
Oh, really? So it's just another league running alongside the league.
So basically, the Super League is a replacement for the Champions League. So what these teams that joined up, what they decided is what we're going to do. We'll run this Super League, and we'll just make more money out of it.
Yeah.
Basically, let's say UEFA, screw UEFA, let them deal with their own crap. We'll be running this league, and we'll be making this serious dough when it comes to this this Super League.
Okay,
league, yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right, no problem. We'll talk about that anyway on another stream. Are you guys winning this weekend?
Yeah, man.
What's the score?
Look, last season we were on fire, and even then we managed to win 2-1. It wasn't a complete, complete annihilation of them in terms of scoreline. We did play quite well. In that game, so I just don't expect it to be like huge scoreline. I'm saying probably I'm gonna go 2-0.
2-0 City.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-1. I'm gonna go 3-1 City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll win. I can't see a world where United win this game, to be honest. I just can't. I mean, yes, they're gonna have fights because it's a derby and they're gonna have the passion of what no one did and all that shouting and all that come on and on, but I just think the quality is just so obvious and so different now. You mean the class is just completely different now, and I just think we'll pass them off the park. We'll win the game.
And I think as well, United they're in a position. I mean, they're quite desperate now. They're playing a desperation game at the moment. I don't think that's going to suit them. City will be quite relaxed after winning this Premier League title, and I think it'll just be like, right, we've done the main thing here. Now let's just go and do our job there. We won't be playing with like this desperation the way United will be playing. They need to save their season by doing this.
True.
And I just don't see. There's a lot of pressure on them. They want to get Europa League. So there is pressure on them, and I just don't see it. Especially with like some of the players out as well. A lot of players aren't in form. They've got some of their players back, but I mean they've not played any minutes yet. So I just don't see them having a good game this season. In that
I agree. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Man United. I've got 3 teams that I had as being the dustiest teams I've ever seen in my life. I've had West Ham. They are dusty. I had Man United. I had Chelsea as being dusty, but I reckon they kind of end of the season kind of took them out of being fully dusty. But I have to say Manchester United and West Ham are the 2 dustiest teams I've seen in the Prem. They're so dusty, and with those players missing, if Casemiro is playing centre back this weekend, it's all over, mate. I mean, for me, I've got City to win 5-0. I think it's going to be one of the most one-sided FA Cup finals we've ever seen, and I think Eric Ten Hag loses his job. So I'll be watching the game. I'll probably be doing a watch along. I have no hope for Manchester United. 5-0 City. It's not financial advice, but I think it's going to be light work. Like you said, I think City go into that game with no pressure. There's no stress. They've done what they needed to do. It was the Prem that they wanted. It was the 4P. This is just like doing a marathon and deciding whether you want to pick up a little water or a little orange on the way. Yeah.
I mean, the way we even qualified for it as well was just like, oh yeah, win the FA Cup final. There wasn't any struggle or anything really. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll go end the season, get together, guys.
It feels like it's an extra game for you guys.
Yeah, it's an end of season get together. Season
big deal. Do you really want to win?
We want. The thing is, this is where teams go wrong, right? And this is where Arsenal is going wrong. And I said it before, right? What Klopp has managed to do is Klopp has managed to put his hand up for any competition that City is not in. Oh, do you want a Carling Cup, Klopp? Is City in there? No, they're not. I want it. So in his way, Klopp has been winning these little trophies and stuff. Yes, he's been missing out on the Prem and stuff, but he's been winning these little trophies. What Arsenal are doing, for example, is they say, no, we want the big thing. We want the big thing. Bro, you can't get the big thing. The big thing is only for a certain team. Yes, sir. So in the meantime, why don't you create the winning mentality and the knowing how to just picking up a trophy, just lifting something, and start to go for these Carling Cups and these FA Cups and stuff. But they're not doing that. And that's where they're falling short. Even Spurs are trying to get the big thing as well. I can see, bro, concentrate on the Carling Cup. Just lift something. I still remember that picture of Woodgate lifting the, what was it called then? Carling Cup, it was called. Or whatever the cup was called.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about I mean, you got the FA Cup there, it's minor. Talk about you guys.
For me, that game, it just, that final, it just seems like yeah, you're right. That extra game that'll give us that one extra trophy for the parade. You know, like so if someone is on one side of the bus with the Premier League,
exactly.
at least someone can show the FA Cup to the other side of
Yeah.
the road. You know what I mean? It just seems like that, man. We're just padding out this parade a little bit more with an extra trophy. That's all.
Just a few extra trophies. Now, big up. Well, good luck this weekend. Thank you for tuning in. Man City, congratulations on your 4P, mugging up our league, diluting the Premier League. I don't know who's going to stop City. I don't know. I can't see it happening. This could be the next 4 or 5 seasons in the Prem. I think all the other teams need to step up. Arsenal flopped. They should have done it this season. I don't see them doing it again. But as for City, you guys keep marching on. Well done. You deserve all the kind of success. And, you know, I'm pretty convinced that if anyone's going to stop City, it will be my club. Onome, it's been a pleasure. Imran, it's been a pleasure. Everyone that's been in the chat, thank you. Everyone that's tuning in later, like and subscribe. We are out.
Peace.